Just a little recap on last week lessons, Um, last week you shared about who we are. And the first thing that I said is when you're here near Sunya, the first thing is for our body need to change. Because for you to know who you are, no body need to the body is just an avatar that you're using. Nti yɛnyɛ no nto nkyɛn na yɛnsua about one kasankasa. And we started off saying, say you are consciousness, you are a soul, or you are the source, and you live or you inhabit this body, physical body now or horses here. And na you're dying. You say, hey, sorry, dying our team. So you cast a one kasankasa there, then you are not the body. Tina, me say, for body into chain. And it says, yeah, Bibi say, you as a source, no, or the soul, you use attention in this physical body, and the attention is in the five sensory perception, which is your seeing, feeling, tasting, touching, and smelling. And then now we use what I say, in the free hanoma, you are actually not here. Okay. But attention, there's more to it, which maybe you will learn in future. Because attention no na ɛyɛ wo yɛka sɛ wo na awɔ physical high sesi a no ɛno na ɛyɛ wo because where your attention goes no ɛhɔ na awɔ sesi a mo nyinaa mo attention wɔ ha nti wɔ ha obi bɛtumi atena ha baa na n'attention wɔ baabi no ho a that means sɛ baabi a n'attention wɔ no ɛhɔ na ɔwɔ okay sɛ yɛtumi nya saa nteaseɛ wei no a the nneɛma no a yɛkeka bebree yɛba TikTok anaasɛ yɛba class ɛka no you're gonna find it very easy to do but sɛ woante ase a then it's gonna be hard and nti na me sa abɔ so bio no because that first lesson na ɛyɛ no is so important. That is the foundation. It's a foundation woante ase a deɛ de bɛka ho biara no ɛmfa. So make sure say the first lesson no maybe me watching it bear several times. Now better I see. And it's how esua BB about awareness. The fact that you are aware. And then the function of the soul or the source itself, or you the ability to be aware and how aware you are of yourself. Because everything is conscious, but not everything is aware. Everything has consciousness, but not everything is aware. Nti awareness no your own levels. And most of energy ebesua no ɛhɔnom na ɛbɛhinge on. Nti ma memfa ntoa so ɛnkɔ what we are going to learn today, which is yɛfrɛ biribi state of consciousness. Yɛka sɛ state of consciousness what do we mean? Things that yɛde kan yɛ the source awareness attention. Yɛbɛkɔ state of consciousness. Yɛka sɛ state of consciousness what do we mean? State of consciousness is what you perceive or how you see reality to be. Okay? How you see or how you perceive reality to be. Mfancha na meba no. The maker ahalum. Anyway, so as I was saying, how you, like that's a state of consciousness, how you perceive reality to be, or how you see a reaction, the way I was seeing who reaction is if, right? Into your five actually matrix no mu. We have five state of consciousness. that most people within the matrix not operate on within creation. So because the matrix are creation in a matrix that most souls operate on. And they are not bad in of itself, but what we are going to be learning no, is to put you on the highest state of consciousness. Now, if we take it one at a time, the physical state of consciousness is when someone obi ohonoma ni understanding of ni wiase or one nyinaa physical hanko onim bibia apart from ewiase ɛwɔ ha nko nti the perception about either say ɔkɔ school yɛawɔ no ne maame nie ne papa nie ɔkɔ school awie abɛyɛ adwuma onim anything outside this earth hanom koraa maybe so wasua adeɛ akɔ n'anim a science onim something about the solar system any I don't know biology ne education mostly ne nimdeɛ about what life is ne nyinaa is limited to just this physical. Okay. Uh-huh. And when I say physical now, and yeah, maybe as I see nko a ebi onim nimdeɛ about say your 9 planets, onim nimdeɛ about say your galaxies, your universes, but ne nimdeɛ na ɛpem ho nko a ɛnkɔ beyond that. Nipa saa no, sɛ oni ne di nkɔmmɔ a otumi sɛ n'adwene wɔ fam. Okay, nipa saa no ne di nkɔmmɔ a otumi sɛ n'adwene wɔ fam. And as time goes on, you better know how to perceive um someone's state of consciousness just by the words no back canon. Bones only needing comma, obetimi who say akọwe, and some now cano. Na dreamy any rubiasa, and I say ni nim dear about reality no, and this rubiasa. Okay. I think say with the little now my exposed to know when you are speaking with people outside that you can actually tell say nipa we wo nim hwee. That is when you can begin to use some of this knowledge in your advantage. Because only obi kasana ni nimdeɛ nyinaa is about this physical state of consciousness. Very, very easy to one manipulate them. And I'm not saying we should be manipulating people, but it's very, very easy to manipulate them. It's very, very easy to influence them. Simply because the level of power that they are using, the mind power that they are using, because to be on a physical state of consciousness, no, you are not actually using any mental energy. And as a power be as a person like that, no, you are very, very easy. Almost I don't know, quote unquote, it's a BB be almost I don't know, sankrofoni bi na ebenya because omu nim anything about whatever is going on in life. Okay. Into someone with a physical state of consciousness is always thinking about Nejuma or thinking about the family or thinking about a kwan a ɔbɛfa so a ɔbɛnya agyapadeɛ, a kwan a ɔbɛfa so a ɔbɛdi yie wɔ abrabom, a kwan a ɔbɛfa so a I don't know, ɔbɛnya something in this physical ha. Ɔndwen anything outside this physical. Okay, that is the physical state of consciousness. Almost, I don't know, they are always involved in the story ɛkɔ so wɔ wiase. Nti sɛ yɛka about football ɔmo gye mu bi, politics a na ɔmo di mu ha kɔtene. Anything this earth no is offering no, they be ɔmo de ɔmo ho ahyɛ mu dendenden. Okay, those are the people we say they are in the physical state of consciousness. They are not actually evolving, because to be on the physical state of consciousness means as a soul you are not evolving, because you can't say wada. Okay, you are unconscious, you are too involved in the game na econo when you are in a physical state of consciousness. And then you call the astral state of consciousness astral state of consciousness ana ye started it honhom sembam no into astral state of consciousness na ye started with religion omo strategy enyame di those that are into spirituality no those that are into astrology those that are into palmistry. Okay, those are the people that actually see the world a little bit higher, but even that no is not anywhere high because it's just one step above the physical. And most of this world, no, that is where I'll say most because there are some people are more are very, very aware of what is going on from physical to the source plane, but a very rare. But the physical and astral, no, a majority of the people on this earth, especially here, Chrome there, Ghana there, Dodo now that level, okay, Dodo now on the level of the astral state of consciousness where they are operating with angels, they're operating with demons, they're operating with I kind of say norms, motia, any that quote unquote mama watane these spirits no. Okay, these are the astral state of consciousness souls. They are not basically physical, but omunim dia no was stroke akache omo more physical. Nintina so those people know what a little bit of to me than the average person. The unso obi wo to me kakra bi a say otimi hu honhom, otimi conjure demon, otimi ne nananom di nkɔmmɔ a say as ɔwɔ soro a little bit than the average person a ɔno deɛ n'ani hu hwee no, right? So the astral state of consciousness is simply those that can perceive beyond this physical, but because of omunim deɛ no sometimes they think say that level no is all that there is. Okay, they think that that level no, is all that there is, and based on how they see the world to be, they don't look for anything beyond that. Okay, they don't look for anything beyond that. Nti say, okotu so be I don't know demonology and I say ancestry nananom and I say on angels edin komo emo mutumi a ombetimi de aye nneoma wasasi so edin crofo so a the first question you need to ask them is nti uye we nyina wi ne krakra anything, right? And that is where it will begin to let them think. Nti those on the astral state of consciousness, no, even though they are not physical, but a little bit better than physical. Okay, a little bit better than physical. And most, yeah, Chrome, dear Ghana, dear, that is where I'll say most people are on. Omo pɛ soul travel, omo di honhom cemetery, all the spirituality na ɛkɔ so wɔ kurom no nyinaa, most of it, just a few, I won't mention names, but just a few bi na omo tra astral state no kakra bi, but no koraa nkyɛ da ndɔɔso, just a few people and ɔmo atra saa astral state of consciousness no. Nti sɛ wo ne obi di nkɔmmɔ na ɔstarte ɛyɛ ahunahuna asɛm bi sɛ mewɔ tumi mɛtumi ayɛ wo sɛ a wahu no straight away that person is operating from the astral state of consciousness ɛnyɛ adeɛ ehu biara, and don't let that intimidate you. Okay, remember that person no intimidate you because the kind of power now all use this physical hanom nko ara na ɛtumi boro ne so. Because Ultra Astra, the Atuaso no, the old used to know it is a toy. Okay. The old used to know it is a toy. Even though it might seem a little bit wonderful whilst you're here, the reason why it seems a little bit wonderful is because those that are on the physical no omuni nhushe. So it's like blind people and then obi ohu ade. Nti obi an near friend obi ohu ade. There's a huge difference. And nti na ɔmo mu hu adeɛ kakra ɔmo tumi de nsɛm bi hunahuna amanfoɔ ɔde twɛn behu deɛ mede bɛyɛ that kind of thing onim sɛ agya ɔno oni tumi biara nti ɔkasa twɛn na wobɛhu a na ne yam hyehye no simply because ɔno ɔnhu hwee. But with this knowledge near the mom, you need to know say there is more to this life, than that to me, And as you learn, you will know say all that to me no, okay, it's nothing. It's just a play of the mind. Okay, it's just a play of the mind. So if you're operating on the astral state of consciousness, there's someone that can operate a little bit higher than you, not even a little. Your causal state of consciousness. When you start talking about causal state of consciousness, now what what we call the astral state, what home sem, okay, because the home sem no, they are also operating on a frequency. On the mechanic no, it's like a TV station on frequency, but a DDBH. Into the physical one no is being controlled by the astral. And into now or more that kind of knowledge, they can do certain things here in the physical because the astral I would say the astral knowledge, it controls the physical. But beyond the astral, so we have the causal, which also controls the astral. But the mechanic in a frequency. Nti if I say the physical frequency a lower, then the astral no a little bit high, and then the causal no a little bit higher than the astral. So someone operating on the causal state of consciousness, or obetimi any obetimi control be on the astral state of consciousness. Okay. So causal state of consciousness, a or more dealing with timelines mostly. And I don't think say Ghana they will be what you'll be all talking about timelines. It's not happening in Ghana. And I say power universe is not power selves. No, we don't even talk about these things. Okay, but when someone is operating on the causal state of consciousness now no or no or change time, and I say or changing a reality. At the end now no, and you say or pay solution or changing no. Okay, so it's not about Sem. This is about power. To me, I'll be the at because these levels now it's all being controlled by one power. Uh-huh. But whose state of consciousness and a bit determine the what you're going to do with that power. No? So if you're operating on a causal state of consciousness, to me, a bro be or the astral. Okay, utumi ne bro be or astral. Nti the power now we use, because we are all souls, remember. Okay, and the soul is all powerful. Continue. The soul is all powerful. So as a soul that you're all powerful, it depends on which level you're operating on. And our power no me aye juma. And you operate on the physical now. I had the own use to me be a zero. But who operate on the astral now, you have a little bit of power, kakra. And then okosra, you have more power, and then okosra, you have more power. The higher you operate from, no, ɛna deɛ meka no, ɛnyɛ biribi a ehu biara o, ɛyɛ nimdeɛ, it's knowledge. Okay, deɛ meka no sɛ the astral state of consciousness no ɛyɛ nimdeɛ. Nti for example, so bitimi conjure I don't know a demon a ɛyɛ nimdeɛ na ɛwɔ ne tirim a otimi yɛ saa adeɛ no. Okay, ɛnyɛ sɛ yɛtumi bi na ɛte ne mu na ɔde yɛ saa adeɛ no, no, ɛyɛ nimdeɛ. Ana so bitimi, I don't know, Ghana deɛ honhomsɛm deɛ dɔɔso. Ɛyɛ nimdeɛ bi wɔ ne tirim ana otimi de yɛ saa adeɛ no. So what we are saying is all about knowledge. Ɛnyɛ adeɛ ehu. Nti sɛ yɛde saa knowledge ne ma wa, then you no can operate on any level that you want to operate on. Okay, you can operate on any level that you want to operate on. So the causal state of consciousness is actually you changing timelines. You're changing your and you might be a life mu biara no and your life the way you perceive the world to be, you see it as a okay, we are now and you're fixed, right? If you ask now and you're fixed for home some to nkyɛn. If you ask your and you're fixed, a fluid. So the cause, idea obey no, and then they be determine what is going to happen. Nti yɛwiase no a yɛwɔ ha sisi ano ɛyɛ yɛfrɛ biribi collective consciousness. The yɛn nyinaa yɛagye atom sɛ nsi no ɛno na yɛɛfeesi. Okay, the yɛn nyinaa yɛagye atom sɛ nsi no ɛno na yɛn nyinaa yɛfeesi. That is why it's important for us to come to a certain knowledge. Sɛnea ɛbɛyɛ yɛn nyinaa yɛadwene no bɛyɛ baako. Ɛnyɛ nipa baako na ɛbɛtumi achange. Nipa baako deɛ subjective. You can change your own reality, no. But for the whole world, and your my cost will be asking to change, no. Then we have to collectively. Kanya saa deɛ anka nimdeɛ wei nka obiara de bɛhyɛ ne dɛm na nka ɛgya wa changing no ne reality by him or herself. But wo change wo deɛ a wo next neighbor ɔno onim this knowledge no. Nti sɛ ɔyɛ krɔnfo a wo bɛba abɛwia wo. Okay, but who name this knowledge no now on next neighbor also name this knowledge now on man baby out. So that's how the collective consciousness operate. Into say a causal state now, you're actually seeing the world as fluid. And whatever you want to know, you start aiming for it. Nti ɛnyɛ sɛ honhom bi na ɛbɛboa wo ɛyɛ wankasa wo tumi no and I would change the course of what the reality you want. Okay, nti ɛnyɛ sɛ honhom ne ni osu tumi. Honhom biara ni obiara so tumi. Unless you allow it. Because again, we are all souls. We are here by some sort of agreement. Okay, so if you're operating on a causal state of consciousness, you actually change situations for your own benefit rather than calling something B to come and help you. I hope say I take the causal state of consciousness. That's it. You can change the cause of what is happening today. Say na bibi sinas ompa and kobompa enche hun bi say Mr. Besisa. No, you do the thing, change it, and it will change for you. Okay. And I call the mental state of consciousness. The mental state of consciousness. This is when you're actually dealing with the mind. Okay, nti na ọmụ a lot of mind stuff, they are very, very powerful because when we get to the mental state of consciousness, now this is when we are actually affecting the minds of people. So someone operating on a mental state of consciousness, a very, very dangerous because we are all using what we call mind. Obiara use our dream. Okay, so when you start operating from that state now, you see everything as a quote unquote, as a computer, as a software that is programmable. You can program it. Okay, nti we no, again, yatra honhom sem. We nye honhom biya, because honhom is operating on the astral state. It's like you are borrowing power to do something. But on a mental state, you are actually using the power to affect things from the mind level, from a program level. Nti when you start operating on the mental state now, and one is say ode wadwin besi bibi so say adie we na mpɛ sɛ ɛnyɛ hɔ. Again, you can do these things if you know that your consciousness, because amanfo bebree anim saa nimdeɛ wei, but ɔmo yɛ a ɛmfa, and the reason why ɔmo yɛ a ɛmfa no is because of what they've identified themselves with. They've identified themselves with the body and then trying to use the mind. It's not going to work. It can work to a certain degree, but obebre. But when you operate as consciousness now, as a soul now, the mind becomes a tool. Adwene a tool a you see. So from a soul perspective, when you're operating on a mental state of consciousness, you are actually using the mind. The mind becomes a tool for you to operate from. Okay, and then you begin to affect. I think say Marty bebree say obi betimi asend o thought e wo trim. Obetimi ehu de ekoso wo obi trim. Obetimi I don't know ato adwene na koto baabi ohu de ekoso wo ho. That is when someone is operating from the mental state of consciousness because he knows that everything is mind. Okay, everything is mind. So that person can do a whole lot of things with this knowledge. In Tina, you're very, very cautious of actually giving you this knowledge. You perceive your intention behind why you want to learn it. Without a proper good intention, you can do a lot of harm. Nti na yɛscanne obiara no to see say your intentions are good before we can actually give you this kind of knowledge, because you can affect only obi to hɔ nom a wobɛtumi asɛnde last week yɛyɛ movie bi, Inception, right? wobɛtumi abɔ awura bi dayɛ mu akɔ implante adeɛ wɔ ne tirim. These are all people operating on the on the etheric state of consciousness, no, when they start affecting the subconscious mind. Ɛhɔ deɛ na agorɔ no agu, because it affect your subconscious mind there, then wode adue, because that is the root of your reality. So when people start affecting people on the when people are operating on the etheric state of consciousness, this is when they are on the I'll say source code level. Okay, they are on the source code level. ɛhɔ nom no ɔka sɛ daa na woda. Okay, ɔka sɛ daa na woda. Obetumi it's a little bit dangerous when people operate on the, again, that is why this knowledge, no, is not out there, because when people come to understand these things are the nneɛma a wɔbɛtumi ayɛ no, rather unfortunately, no, it doesn't go into just anybody's hands. Yɛmfa mma obiara kɛkɛ anaasɛ knowledge ne mba obiara kɛkɛ hɔ. You need to be a bibi tete no yɛfrɛ bibi initiation. Okay, you need to be taken through a whole lot of discipline to weigh your heart. Yɛbɛde wobɛfa nneɛma bebree mu. Nti na tete no na masters wɔ hɔnom no. Because master no wobɛkɔ akɔtena ne nkyɛn na wasɛɛvo ne saa na wahwɛ sɛ wakoma no wɔde saa nimdeɛ no ma wo a womfa nkɔdi bɔne a. Okay, but this day and age, no, things are changing. Souls needs to evolve. So it's coming out for people to know themselves rather than use it for harm, because it's gonna be common. Okay, very soon this knowledge is gonna be common and everybody is gonna have access to it. By basa now no obiara betumi abɔ ne ho ban, because owu deɛ owu no obi nim, nti obi yɛ adeɛ a wobɛhu deɛ ɔyɛ nyinaa. But until then, right now, there we are trying to help most of you to become aware of exactly what is going on behind the scene, so you can also help others to become aware. The Ghana, no, if you see someone oye de about hum sem, just know that that person is operating from an astral state of consciousness, and enye adie hu biya obi yɛ nananom a ɛyɛ astral state of consciousness, ɛnyɛ adeɛ hu biara. sɛ bɛyifoɔfoɔ deɛ ɔmo deɛ ɛyɛ agorɔ bi koraa na ɔmo yɛ ntontom, because when you have this knowledge now, you know say whatever that they are doing, no, a pure ignorance, they are operating from pure ignorance. Okay, for you to use that kind of power not to do those things, no, from Momo perspective, Namiko, not the people out there. From Momo perspective, because from people out there, the physical state of consciousness, they don't know what is going on, so it will seem something so mysterious. It can't be a befuana near machine. I had ya be caso a before fanadam, because waiting in agro. Utu announce what to edinachi. Okay. Uh-huh. Inti, what we want you to know is we have something called state of consciousness, and the state of consciousness actually how I will see who we are sniffing. Okay, how I will see who we are sniffing. And how I will see who we are sniffing, and also have a way to help you understand how you can operate. Nti sɛ woyɛ physical, then wo no, because w'adwene no nyinaa wɔ physical no wowada koraa, you don't know what is going on. Obi or mentors, obi operating on a mental state, can do you a whole lot of harm without you realizing. And obi or astral state no, from a kind of frequency perspective, obi or astral state, obi or operating on the mental state no, and any depend no. Nti na sɛ ma realize a obi wɔ hɔnom a ɔnam hɔ a ɔsɛ me mensuro hwee me wontumi nya me hwee, right? Or otimi keka nsɛm bi. I'm not saying you should go and do that, okay? But otimi keka nsɛm bi against quote unquote ɔmo a ɔmo sɛ ɔmo wɔ tumi bi no. Saa nkurɔfoɔ no, they are operating on a mental state while programming n'adwene no. Okay, while programming n'adwene sɛ wontumi nya no hwee, and the moment na wa programming adwene no, woyɛ ne dɛn hwee nsi. I think last Saturday when we were doing the inception decoding, no, someone did ask the question, say, then the subconscious who say, yeah, baby attacking no, and I was sending on one subconscious SND military, a man be protecting on. Okay, when someone or making that dream say untimi nya no hwee, within him no or within her no, there is some energy be ni tumi no, a certain defense, okay, a certain defense around that person no. Nti come high, whatever you do no untimi nya no hwee, because it's a soul. Obiaye soul. Unless most people don't know, but they believe in themselves. You know you are going to become aware that you're a soul, and then you have the power. By Bimo Honoma, they are not aware that they are soul, but they believe in Bibi Mumu, right? And most of the time, nobody almost dang on to me bibia. That's because omasi omumu pise ono untiminya ni bibia, and that is the mental state na mekano. That person is operating from a mental state of consciousness because we're seeing pi. And that's all it takes. Okay, that's all it takes. It doesn't take any power. The air trainer and American is all about knowledge. The physical state, astral state, causal, mental, etheric state of consciousness, no, it's all about knowledge. And yet, say you're afraid to me be free baby no the brain. No, a nimdeɛ. It is an nimdeɛ ne mawa. The moment now benyano a programming. Okay, it programs you so that you begin to operate on that level. Now, the last one, now, man fan kahono, and they kind of from the soul perspective, the soul state of consciousness. Okay, from the soul state of consciousness, and I said the source state of consciousness. No, now you're operating as everything is you. And then I did be about TikTok. I am I am you, you are me. No, okay, that is the ultimate. When you operate from that state of consciousness now, you are now everything. So you are seeing everybody as you. Okay. Now, again, this knowledge, no, that soul, and I said source, state of consciousness, no, a embodiment. You need to gradually embody it. A idea, experiencing. So as time goes on now, more practices, no, with experiences, no, you are going to see the ekano. And the moment you see it or you experience it now, that is when that embodiment now mekano will take place. Because you need to be able to experience it. Say we are all one. Okay. At first, it's knowledge. So we are all one. The other ones, no, which is the mental state of consciousness. There are practices that you can do. But the last one in there is experiential. You have to experience it. So, for example, the mental state of consciousness, you bet me actually say, Oti honoma katawani ne imagine bibi say a dan kakraka kata ho. Right? That's a practice. And when you do that now, it creates that aspect of the whole imagine and not around you, and you become protected. Nothing can happen to you. But the source need there is experiential. You need to experience it because to see everybody as one, it goes beyond the mind. Because all techniques is within the mind. You do something for that to happen. but the source experience or access source embodiment is beyond the mind. So it's something that you have to experience. Okay. So I hope say yate state of consciousness I say ɛnyɛ adeɛ hu ɛyɛ just nimdeɛ obi nimdeɛ about how osi perceive ewiase nifa and nimdeɛ no egu mu ahodoɔ egu ne sɛ obi wɔ hɔnom a n'adwene nyinaa ne sɛ ahonhom ɛna ɛyɛ ultimate nti debi odi ahonhom akyi obi wɔ hɔ so a ɔno deɛ asase so ha ya school ne I don't know stories na ɛkɔ so de biara wɔde ne ho agye biribi mu wɔ ahanom. Yeah, no, me, I don't remember the last time grandpa me follow any news be family home cry. Not because I'm family home, baby I'm me perception that no any hanum. I'm always thinking somewhere else. And I say I'm always perceiving reality from a higher state. Say basa na the echo so asasi so no, even though I'm here, but it's like I'm not here. And that is the state we want all of you to get to. Because once you get to that state now, adwendwen so nyinaa bɛte because there is no such thing as we are him say me konya adagye adwene ne ho wonni bi mpo. Okay, at the same time ɛnyɛ adeɛ a obi betumi aba abɛyɛ obi bi mpo because no in this realm na ɛwɔ no ɛyɛ cause and effect mostly nti biribiara nkɔka papa a ma mo fan so nti wote hɔ no wankɔka obi a obi amɛyɛ ɔhwee ana obi so ntumi mmɛyɛ ɔhwee because wabɔ ho ɛnyɛ sɛ wabɔ ho ban wɔ frequency no nti no biribiara ntumi mba wo nkyɛn agye sɛ wowɔ abie kwan no sɛ biribi mbra ansa na biribi bɛba nti wɔ hɔ nom a no wo no woyɛ okay you have peace you have I don't know joy you have everything. But if you open yourself, then yes, it's gonna come to you because you have allowed it. Because we live in this realm, no, a cause and effect. So okoa, then there's going to be an effect. So the state of consciousness that we want you to be actually aim for, no, is to aim for the soul. Always see things from the soul perspective. Okay, always see things from the soul perspective. It goes a tradrino. Okay, a tradrino, and because of that, no, you begin to vibrate on that frequency because everything within creation is energy, frequency, and vibration. So you begin to vibrate on that frequency where and Yoma wono odre mostly how people are enipa enibeje how are nipa ebenya nkoso how are people are going to live good life how are things are supposed to be good on dream bonibia and I na sika can say what's say home ne ba I don't know sika be boami wa hanum say sika onsa was upagya nsa mami aha mahu
yeah okay abusuafo yeah sɛdeɛ wɔka no nne na meka sɛ nneɛma mmienu na ɛdi apere wɔ nipadua no mu ɛyɛ honhom ne honam nti sɛ honhom no ɛdɔ tia honam no a na bible kyerɛ sɛ wabɛyɛ ɔdɔ nti wade a woyɛ nyinaa yɛ adeɛ a bɛboa humanity ayamyie ɔdwo ahobrɛaseɛ obuo papayɛ nimdie nyansa nhunumu nteaseɛ this is how you are going to operate from nti deɛ woyɛ nyinaa no yɛ adeɛ bɛpɛ nipa yie bɛboa nipa wɔte mama nipa wobu nipa wodwo wɔ ahobrɛaseɛ wobu adeɛ nimdeɛ ayɛ ɔma twom nyansa ayɛ ɔma twom na kyerɛ sɛ you are operating from the soul perspective because nneɛma mmienu na ɛwɔ mu yɛwɔ adwene no wɔka no the mind anaasɛ honam saa na ɛfrɛ no wɔ twi mu sɛ wo operate from honam nso a ne na deɛ woyɛ nyinaa yɛ aseɛ nko ano na wɔka adwamammɔ korɔno awudie asisie abayikorɔ nsanom akɔhwibra mpaapamu kunsu nneɛma a ɛmfa kyerɛ sɛ nneɛma tantantan ana abɛyɛ because wo operate from the honam no nti nneɛma mmienu na ɛwɔ wo nipadua mu a ɛyɛ soul and the mind anaasɛ honam nti sɛ deɛ wɔka no go so no level a wadwene biara na asase wei so adwene no wɔ ha but nyɛ saa honam nneɛma no abayigorɔ nkɔnkɔnsaa nsamboro asisie apobɔ sɛdeɛ Africa mpanimfoɔ fomfa sika yi wɔn operate from the lowest koraa asisie pɛ sɛ me nko menya ɔno nko apɛ sɛ ɔno nko anya biribiara but wo operate from honhom no level a woyɛ ɔdɔ ɛna ɔdɔ no mu ɔdwo ahobrɛaseɛ ayamye papayɛ wate aseɛ baakoyɛ nteaseɛ nimdeɛ nyansa na wobɛnya saa nneɛma wei nyinaa nti lord mede ase
Okay, thank you, Sika. So that is what I mean by the soul perspective. When you're operating from the soul perspective now, and your man also it's a frequency, it's a vibration. So when you're operating on a peace, so operating on love now, and yet or bane bema love na maker. When you're operating from love, the universal love, and I say unconditional love now, it's a frequency. And I say it's a vibration. Who operate you on that now? You attract that in your money to yourself. Oh, yeah. Honey, one likes attract likes. The all vibrating and then a beba honor. Okay. So when you start operating on that frequency as a soul now, then that is the things that are gonna come to you. They all kind of say or mind, right? So there's the soul and the mind. The mind, the levels, then I'm actually, so I dream a be more useful just on the physical state. Okay, mind yɛakyekyɛkyekyɛ ebi mu using it just on the physical state. The same adwene ebi mu using on the astral state. The same adwene ebi mu using on the causal state. The same adwene no ebi using on the mental state, and at the same adwene ebi using on the etheric state. Okay, nti the state that we want you to be operating on is on the soul state of consciousness or a soul perspective, seeing everything as Oyokra. Okay, and okra, even though you are in a human form, which is nipadua nim, okra nware. Nti sɛ waware na sɛ yɛ tete wa yɛ bibi fa ho. Okra ni oba. Ba o oba na sɛ oba tete wa yɛ bibi fa ho because you can. I'm not saying say kogya ɔyere and I say kogya kunu, no, but you can affect them. As a soul, you can affect them. Nti mentena hɔ ma nneɛma wei no mmɛtete wɔ as a soul. Okay, mentena hɔ ma nneɛma wei mmɛtete wɔ as a soul. Sɛ wo adwumasɛm a, you can affect adwumasɛm. Okay, mentena hɔ ma adwumasɛm mmɛtete wo as a soul. Mentena hɔ ma obi mbu ma broken heart as a soul. Dabe mpo ne yɛwɔ TikTok ɛna na wei deɛ ɔmfa nkyɛ me masaa de no abaa bio. No traffic osu. I don't know why she's crying. Na make her tell say I am in one say as a soul you are crying, right? Because as a soul, no, I don't know what will make you cry. You're supposed to be happy because your state of consciousness is always blissful. Um, so please, as I'm saying, operate from a soul perspective, and you're gonna see how life is gonna be so easy. You're gonna see how life is gonna be so beautiful, peaceful. The year Kodana year is because we are operating from the mind perspective. Okay, and then from the mind perspective, it depends which level you are on. Wow, more physical hot there. I think so there in your na agrono omona ye de omadane NPCs no. Okay, more physical state of consciousness no. Here no omoni from NPCs. Omoni na mukeke. Okay, nti sɛ wotena hɔ ma NPC bi so ɛbɛha w'adwene so deɛ I don't know what kind of soul you are. Someone a ɔnnim deɛ ɛkɔ so wɔ wiase nyinaa na wabɛdidi w'atam na as a soul na ahyew. Again, I don't know how. Okay, so from today's lesson, I want you to start seeing yourself as a soul. To say first lesson here, and then see everything from a soul perspective. See everything from the soul state of consciousness. Say, you are everywhere at the same time. You are all powerful. Begin to embody that. Come on. Because the more now the more you begin to use the mind as you. as a tool for you rather than you, the mind controlling you. But I say, and that lesson no, is to give you this, I would say, understanding. Now, it's not just knowledge, keke nam dia mamu no. To say them no, these things no is a to me. To say the yana keke no, knowledge is power. Okay, so obetumi aka say I've just handed to you some heavy power. Be with a kind of saying, transformer by 2 billion watts, and I'm the Ashem just like that, you know. All right, it depends on how you perceive this knowledge now, the man. Because if you perceive it trial, yeah, it's going to be trial for you. It depends on how you are receiving the information. Words in some I can carry to me. Okay, so I'm transferring that to me to you. So you can begin to operate on that same to me. Say about TikTok ne can say be and you say yeah, I don't know, to me be wo baby. There's no to me be or baby, to me na any but you don't know it. Okay, to me na any you are the ultimate power, but you don't know ignorance, and I leave you like that. So I'm trying to take away the veil of ignorance, no, and then what remains is the power, no. But that the mede yi veil no afiri hɔ no ɛne yɛfrɛ no knowledge. You already have it, but you've forgotten, and I'm trying to remind you, send a remove the veil of ignorance na afiri hɔ no. And then what remains is the power, no? Because I'm not giving you any power. You are the power itself. Okay, and this is the power now media point and the state of consciousness. Begin to operate from a soul perspective all the time so that you be able to live as a soul and see everything as the source. Bibia behu bia no fa ne sɛ ɛyɛ waa sɛ ɛyɛ okuno ɛyɛ waa edua na esi hɔ ɛyɛ waa nsuo na esi hɔ ɛyɛ waa bibia ɛyɛ waa. There's nothing outside you, everything is you. Okay, hopefully this lesson no abie wo onimdie mu ama ene otumi ade bɛkɔ fie no ɛbɛyɛ times 10. Menim sɛ Mr. Siama wɔ hanom na ɔde bi bɛka ho a. Let me see if Bosita wɔ ha. Okay, Bosnia. Okay. Then let's open the floor for some question and answers. Unless Mama Esther ne Tika, some person di kakra ka ho about the state of consciousness now. Mama Esther.
Yes, Papa. Abusuafo. Where there? My busy kakra nti na friend first one meant me amba me chia obia. Ade ne de ne nyinaa na great architect ebiebie mu ato hɔ ama mo no. Na ya na ye ka asɛm bi sɛ Bosita wa asɛm bi a ɔka wa sɛ nimdeɛ na nimdeɛ wɔ trim na wɔ experience a is just menim sɛ institute betumi aboa me wɔ hɔ a.
Knowledge, if knowledge without experience is just information in your head.
Nti right now no deɛ sisi a no akasa wo bɛ experience ɛnyɛ saa deɛ ɛyɛ information kɛkɛ ɛna ade nam nti kakra me pɛ sɛ me de ka great architect no ho deɛ no kan because asɛm no waka no nyinaa but sɛ knowledge yɛ de ama wo ɛnyɛ saa kɛkɛ o na wo nam na ɛda wa no na wo nam kɛkɛ na o keka saa you have to experience it as yɛka so woyɛ ɔkra as a soul no saa perspective na great architect ka ho asɛm no mental plane asɛm na wɔka no causal plane asɛm na wɔka no you have to experience it Nti great architect waka ne nyinaa ɛho hia sɛ mɛka bebree because time no ɛna ɔmo nsa ɛwɔ soro so dɔɔso nti no kakra mede bɛka ho no meda ase.
Okay. All right, thank you. Great Goddess Apelianisa. Great Goddess.
Ɔhene, metia mo abusuafo mpakyɛ meba mewɔ class meba. Great architect mpakyɛ ɔmɔte me nka.
Yeton Kapa.
Yeah, abusuafo metia obiara. Na deɛ mekora ma yɛnhyira the great architect. Ɛboro adwene ne nte aseɛ so. Abusua, mo a montie first lesson no mesrɛ mo. Monsan nkɔ tie yɛbuild the foundation no for the knowledge. Yɛkɔ yɛn anim no wobɛbisa basic question bi ampakyɛw. Ɛno no yɛbɛyi wɔ firi mu. Nti first one, second lesson wontie yɛasan kɔ tie. Ɛnnɛ deɛ no fa ka ho. Kɔpem sɛ yɛbɛhyia Sunday no. Ma ne nya ade a wobɛtie ne da biara because we are building the foundation for the knowledge. Nti wode bɛyɛ agorɔ yɛkɔ yɛn anim. Na wobɛbisa consciousness, wobɛbisa soul. Inansɛn yɛnyɛ saa adwuma no. Ɛmbɛkokɔ akyi. Wobɛbisa astra, wobɛbisa yɛbɛyi wafiri mu na kyerɛ sɛ woba a wontie ne yɛka no. Nti mesrɛ mo, me a mete ha nnɛ, mate anya mu aba apaa. Nti wowɔ ha tie, yɛpon atan da biara da tie, kɔpem sɛ yɛbɛbi kɔ yɛn anim no wobɛba abɛte aseɛ. Kakra a mepɛ sɛ meka no no, na me ankasa nnɛ nsɛm a great architect de agu dwa no, I'm so grateful. It's so powerful. I'm so excited. Nti mpakyɛw abusua, wontie yɛ asan kɔ tie. Because we question bisa, we experience how we can send you be present what send you be behavior platform no so some we can it will actually tell us say who share na answer with the idea grow. This is our time in the use energy. Time is something. Energy in the use yemre ni use into ya betre now fan of fala na the bia my repeat here remember ya beji energy e do ho into me sra mo abusuafo one TB a summarize for question no tie and but tin dia na enyi ano papa na yenkɔ yɛnim na da mo nyinaa say great architect thank you so much and na dem say why have to menti afe wɔ nneɛma bi ho I'm so grateful with the way I say thank you all.
Okay.
So very
Okay. Thank you, Great Goddess.